Hello? Let's see. Let's go. I'm Evie. Hello? Hi. Hello. Welcome in. Welcome to book club. Welcome to another week. We took a break last week for reasons, but this week, book club. I want to read. I don't know how long I'm going to be able to read today. Probably maybe like an hour or so. Is what I'm thinking. Is cutting myself off at around an hour. Because I don't want to rip up my voice for tomorrow. Because we're going to be doing some Bejeweled Zatsudaning. And I'm very excited for that as well. And I don't want to read too much or else my voice will get obliterated. But I took a short nap before stream and I woke up at 8. So I was like, ah, shit, my stream. Oh god, my stream. I try to keep things punctual. I try to keep things as close to like between 7 and 8. I try not to go past 8 for starting time, but well, I mean, Bejeweled is fun. What do you mean? It's like relaxing. Let's see, I'm finishing up my snack really quick. Because what I used to, a long time ago, back when I first back in my like pre-debut era, like back before I had my live 2D, I did nothing but play Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 for like several months. So I don't think me getting addicted to Bejeweled is particularly shocking. I just enjoy it. It's nostalgic. I think your first game was that was called Columns. Ooh. Yeah, I was really into like... Aren't you also in your pre-debut era in theory? I guess. I mean, I've already debuted. I debuted like almost... It's gonna be... like... Oh, it's been over a year and a half since I debuted for the first time. That's crazy to think about. But Columns was released in 1990. Oh no. I'm trying to remember, like, I used to play a bunch of like free games on my computer. Like they were just like games that were just like on the computer that you could just like download. But like the Gamma model is like an outfit. I wouldn't consider that like a debut. Like a full, I'm not considering, like, it's going to be like an outfit, more like a costume, more so than like a, it's kind of a 2.0, but it's also like kind of its own thing. It's also like people are really, I feel like I'll probably do like a debut for the new model, but I'm probably not gonna be taking it super seriously. A 3.0. No. This model is a the Gamma model is a 2.0. Like, the whole thing with, like, stuff like that is, like, it's just so... Everyone kind of, like, rates things differently. Like, I would consider... Because I consider my Gamma model to be like an outfit or like a costume. But if I were to get like a new model from like Grimm, I would consider that like a 2.0. But Grimm is very busy. But Hmm. Moving a staring contest? I'm just looking at something really quick before I start up things. I also forgot what I was talking about completely. Oh yeah, I was talking about like games I played like back in the day. Like free-to-play games that were just like on the PC you could just download and play. I was really bad at all of them, but I liked them. I played a lot of Solitaire. Solitaire stream. Let's go. But we should probably get reading. Remember games that came on CDs and cereal boxes? I do too. That was crazy. Like, it's wild. Like, I don't want to be like, oh, back in the day, but like things really have changed since I was younger. I feel like the sense of whimsy is just gone. So you're playing Fortnite? Absolutely not. There's a lot of garbage back then too. The thing with it is just like, it tends to be like, Chips Challenge was really fun. Like, cause like, we had like all of the like, I feel like I was in like that peak era of like, flash games, like online flash games where like, all of the like major like children's cartoon sites would have like flash games on their sites still. So you're playing those pre-installed games? That's what I did! What are you talking about? I used to play them. I can't remember the names for any of them. But like, I used to play those. I used to play like the flash games, like flash dress-up games, or like the hot shit. Cause there was like what? Cause there was like what? Minesweeper. Minesweeper was a big one. I was never good at it. Oh yeah, Space Cadet was on there. Yeah, there were so many games back in the day. Like, that you just, like, got. So I'm trying to look at, let's look. I'm looking at them. I've looked up the. Let's see. Oh. Oh god, what was the name? There was one that I played like ages ago. There was a game I played ages ago, and I'm pretty sure it was like one of my first like Hi Devil! Hi Dizzy! Welcome in! I said your name out of order, I'm sorry. The game I was thinking of. It was like a fantasy action RPG that was on my computer, it was on my mom's computer when I was younger. Oh, they re-released it on Steam and everything. It was called Fate, as the game's title. Oh, I should revisit this game, maybe. I want to remember. I want to, like... part of me wants to, like, visit it again. Oh, that should be... That would be fun. That would be fun. Maybe I'll add that to the list. I'll add that to the list of games I have to play. Yeah, I played it on my family computer. And my mom was like, "What are you playing? Stop playing games on the computer now." Because she was like so anti me having fun when I was a child. But I would wake up at like 3 in the morning on a school day to go play it before I went to school, before I went to go catch a bus at like 6 a.m. So I'd play for like 3 hours until my mom caught me waking up at 3 a.m. and then she kind of locked the computer and put a passcode on it. But that's not the point. I wasn't hurting anyone. I wasn't hurting anyone back then. I was just having fun because I wasn't allowed to play on the computer after school. I was only allowed to play for like an hour on weekends on the computer. Even though no one used the computer except for me because my mom didn't know how to use it. No fun, only book. I was so into reading back then, and now I'm illiterate. So really, what can you do? What can you do? Alright. I think I've yapped for long enough. We've been going for 20 minutes. But I should play Fate. That was... like, I feel like... used to sneak and play games that my brothers would tell on you. The thing is that my siblings wouldn't tell on each other. We had a pact because our mother is insane. To not tell on each other, but my sister constantly broke this rule because she's youngest child disease. Okay, let's go. Let's pop over. Oh, it's Umineko. What do you mean by that? My youngest sister and I do not get along. Like, we get along now. Now that we're like older, but when I was younger, we hated each other. This game making you hungry? How? Crows, they're seagulls. Let's see. Bum, 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 bum. Close Twitter. No looking at that. Ocean cats. Yeah, sea cats. We're talking about cats here. Anyways, you guys ready to go back to Rokkenjima? Are we ready to read more? Actually, I'm gonna... Hold on. One moment. I didn't turn off my lights. I need my lights off. I can't get into my late night reading mood like this. Oh. I would also wake up at 3 a.m. to watch anime before school. Back when I would just binge anime constantly, because I didn't have anything better to do with my life, because I was middle high school. But weeb to the bone. Yeah, I was like, I was a weeb during like the prime era of weebs back in the day. So in the 10th twilight, the journey ends, and you reach the Golden Land. You really are diligent, Maria. You did a good job writing all this down. Ooh, I forget a lot, so I always write things down. Mama told me to. There was a notebook inside the handbag Maria was always carrying around, and Beatrice's epitaph was copied into it. Thanks to that, we were all able to challenge the puzzle of the epitaph while walking down the beach. Jessica and the rest had already tried to solve it several times, and had already gotten bored with it. However, since this was a first for me, I was so excited that I couldn't stop. It really tickled my sense of adventure. Let's start with the first line. Behold the Sweetfish River running through my beloved hometown. Where was grandfather's hometown again? I heard that before the war, the Ushiramiya family had a mansion near Odawara. Which makes you want to know which Sweetfish River flows through Odawara, right? Yeah, because that river would be the starting place. Anyone searching for the Golden Land would head down that and search for the key. What's this river in Odawara? Does it have sweetfish swimming in it? If you're looking for sweetfish in Odawara, it'd have to be Hayakawa. It's famous for its mountain stream fishing. Ooh, I hate fish. Maria, you'll understand when you get a little older. Salty roasted sweet fish. Yummy. Even though we just ate, I'm getting hungry again. Shall I bring you a biscuit? Huh? Oh, sorry, that's not what I meant. Don't mind it. Shannon was faithfully keeping us company since she didn't have any afternoon chores for a while. I would have thought that since she's a servant, accompanying us would be force her to take care of us and tire her out, but that didn't seem to be the case for her. On the contrary, she seemed to enjoy joining in a conversation with people close to her age. When I asked, I heard that she was the sort of worker whose room and board were supplied by her employer. So normally, the only people close to her age was Jessica. Yeah, I can imagine how that could be pretty dull. Okay, so I get that the Sweetfish-filled river near Odawara is Hayakawa. In that case, we've got to go down it. Did you find anything if you head down Hayakawa River? If you follow it downstream, you'll arrive at the ocean. Of course, you'd reach the mouth of the river. And the third line, the epitaph, is as you travel down it, you will see a village. By the way, since long ago, the mouths of rivers have always been key points in transportation, and large cities tend to be built there. That'd be the next checkpoint. That's a pretty good theory. Just like you guessed, there's an old city there that was very prosperous in ancient times. That's where Odawara Castle is. I think I might have gone to Odawara Castle on a field trip once. It really was a wonderful castle. Yeah, I also went there. Even though I live in a Western-style house, it's true that Japanese people feel calmer with a Japanese layout. Ugh, castles are boring. Theme parks are better. I see. Okay. If we find the gold, the Great Battler will generously reserve the whole theme park for a day and let you play it. Still, Odawara Castle, huh? The hidden gold of Odawara Castle. It's actually starting to sound pretty good. Well, we figured that out 2 years ago. The village down the river where the Sweetfish River in Odawara. We figured it was probably somewhere near Odawara Castle. The problem is the next line. Okay, let's see where Battler's Sane's reasoning can take him. Jessica grinned broadly. She seemed to be implying that she would have solved the puzzle long ago if it was that easy. Damn it. I'll definitely find it and keep it all for myself. The fourth line. In that village, look for the shore the two will tell you of. I don't know what it means by the tube anyway, but shore. What does it mean by the shore? No, wait, is there any place near there with shore or kishi in its name? I've heard there's a place called Soga Kishi in Odawara. Huh? Wow, you sure know a lot about it. What could that mean? Shannon, are you trying to solve the riddle and get the gold too? Choo-choo. It's not like I'm interested in gold. It's just that George told me about it before. That's because we reached the same conclusion 2 years ago. We even went to the trouble of laying out a map and looking it up. It was about 5 kilometers to the north of Odawara. We definitely found a place called Sogakishi there. However, after that, we get stuck. The fifth line doesn't say where the key is hidden in that place. Maria, would you read it for us? There sleeps the key to the Golden Land. Ooh, I can read it. Sogakishi is probably large, and there wasn't ever any house built there by the Ushiramiya family. Not much we can do to find a key in such a vast area without any hints. You're right. And without the key, we can't advance to the next line. George and Anki, what kind of place is Sogakishi? Let's see. I've never been there, so I don't know, but according to the map, it's in the mountains. I'm pretty sure it was at the base of Mount Asama. Something doesn't feel right. You'd expect a riddle pointing the way to the hidden gold to be a bit more exact. I get the feeling that even part about Sogakishi was a mistake. Well, I think it could be Sogakishi. It could be talking about some house that Grandfather lived in when he was a kid that we don't know about. After all, the first line mentioned is his beloved hometown. Shannon, you served Grandfather alcohol and stuff lots of times, right? Hasn't he ever talked to you about his past? The master almost never speaks of the past. However, he talks of the Great Kanto earthquake as though it was someone else's story, so he may have been living far away from the Kanto area. The Ushiramiya family may have been living in Odawara, but not all of the branch families were. Grandfather often called himself part of a branch of a branch family, the least connected to the successor. And that means the beloved hometown might not even be Odawara at all. I've never heard anything about Grandfather's hometown, and I doubt he'd actually tell me if I asked. The so-called beloved hometown isn't referring to the Ushiramiya family's roots, then Odawara theory is wrong from the beginning. Of course, this doesn't completely remove the possibility that was Sogakishi. For example, perhaps he lived in Odawara when he was very young, then moved far away later. Ugh, I don't understand what you're talking about. Maria had been completely left out of the conversation, and she now sat puffing out her cheeks in boredom. So basically, if we can't even agree on the starting point for this dice game of gold, we're totally stuck. But wait, After the first 5 lines, the thing we find up finding is a key, right? Even if you don't have a key, it's always possible to bust through a door. Can't we just skip the first 5 lines and start figuring out the rest? Oh, I hadn't thought of that. Oh well, we're just wasting time anyway. Let's hear the rest of Battler's reasoning. But in the next part, it gets dark really fast. Shannon frowned slightly. After looking back at Maria's notebook to recall what was written there, yeah, I was forced to agree. On the first twilight, offer 6 chosen by the key as sacrifices. It sure does get horrible quickly. On the second twilight, it says to tear apart the 2 who are close. Does that mean to make them break off their loving relationship? Or does it mean to literally tear them apart? I don't know, but either way, it's pretty disgusting. Even if we set that second line aside, it mentions 6 people for the first twilight, then 5 people for the 4th through 8th twilights. So at least 11 people must be sacrificed. Ooh, there's sacrifices to revive Beatrice. I see sacrifices to restore the wish. Yeah, that's what it means. Near the end, the witch will be revived on the 9th twilight. That last part is guaranteed. On the 9th twilight, the witch shall revive, and none shall be left alive. So everyone will die in the end. And after that, the 10th twilight is the goal line. Not sure how you're supposed to reach the Golden Land if everyone's dead by then. Depending on how you interpret it, the traveler who holds the key may or may not be included in the none shall be left alive part. But at the end, there's something pretty interesting. After reaching the goal, the witch gives out 4 treasures. One shall be all the gold. The problem is the next one. It says the dead souls will be resurrected, right? Doesn't that sound like it means everyone who died in the earlier lines? If you put it like that, then the part about reviving lost love might refer to the pair torn apart on the 2nd twilight. That's right. And the 4th one refers to the 9th twilight. The 4th treasure is putting the witch, revived on the 9th twilight, to sleep. If we put a happy spin on all of this, it'd be hectic with people dying and breaking up all over the place, but it'll be made all right in the end. The awakened witch will sleep again, and everything will be as it was at the start, except with a huge pile of gold. The witch must be pretty busy with all the killing, reviving, breaking up, and reuniting people. Not to mention waking up and sleeping. Sheesh, when the tale of the hidden gold was getting interesting, it gets pretty dubious once the witch starts showing up. Too true. I laughed along with Jessica. After all, the idea of a witch was just too ridiculous. Of course, once we started laughing like that, Maria, who believed in the witch, got angry. Ugh. The witch is incredible. She can do anything with magic. Even kill. Even bring back to life. Even give love ticket. She can fly in the sky and become invisible. She can make gold and bread out of nothing. Dang. My bad. We were just joking. Jessica apologized, sticking out her tongue, but Maria didn't accept it. She grabbed her notebook back out of my hands and, opening to some of the other pages, tried to prove that the witch existed. Those pages had colorful drawings of witches on them, and, well, conveyed with the fantastical image Maria had of witches. It wasn't normal, sinister image of a crooked-nosed hag flying around on a broom, but a dreamlike person with unnatural powers, who could do anything and wore a beautiful dress. It was just what you expect from an imaginative young girl. Flitting through the sky, crossing a rainbow, dancing around all night with a teacup and a teapot that would you never get empty no matter how much you poured out of it. With a flourish of her staff, the stars of the sky would become candy and pour down, and flowers that produced sweets would be bud by the roadside. To Maria, witches were the only concept that could embody the magical dreams that so captivated her. As she grew older, it was the last remaining thing that could give richness to her dull and plain, ordinary everyday life. That's why Maria believed in witches. She didn't want that dream of hers to be tarnished. That's why she didn't want anyone to tarnish the epitaph, which affirmed the existence of witches. Because the witch named Beatrice is Maria's dream. To Maria, the epitaph isn't a guide to hidden gold, but magic to revive the witch. So it was a single link between Maria and the witch. Maria was very angry and clung to George. Jessica and I scratched our heads and apologized. It might not be possible to smooth things over again like the time she got mad in front of the portrait. Maria didn't seem to be easily consoled. Unlike Jessica and I, who hung our heads wondering what to do, Shannon timidly opened her mouth. Maria, did you know? There's a ghost story about Beatrice that has been passed down among the servants. Oh yeah, that's right. Shannon, tell us about it. I don't really know, but it's apparently pretty famous among the servants. What is this? A ghost story? Yeah. It seems a story from before we were born. I also heard about it from my mother. Yes. It has been passed down since the time of the mansion's construction. The servants of that time whispered that the mansion had two monsters, one of the day and one of the night. The tale that Shannon told was just like a typical campfire ghost story. There was a forest with a witch living inside it, then of course the witch would come pay the mansion a visit from time to time. At some point, the ghost story naturally sprouted up between the servants. When people do the rounds the second time to check the doors, the windows, and the locks that were supposed to be closed, they'd find some of them left open. Lights that were supposed to be off were turned on, and lights that were supposed to be on were one out. Things left lying around would disappear, and things would appear when no one had any memory of putting them there. When any of these things happened, the old servants would say that the witch had visited the mansion, invisible, and was playing pranks. Ooh. See, she exists. Beatrice exists. Yeah, she exists. Long ago, so it was always right before leaving for school that I wasn't able to find my bag and stuff. Maria popped out her chest with an ooh-ooh, as though it was the final proof of the witch's existence. If I opened my mouth, Maria would probably start to hurt again, so I didn't. I mean, you hear this kind of story everywhere. Depending on the place, they might blame it on a dwarf or an elf. The only difference is that they call it a witch this island. Of course, walking around a vast, elegant mansion at night would be a little unsettling. It's an island devoid of people. Since the mansion is drafty, walking around the night with a thunderstorm would certainly be eerie. In addition, some servants have also seen will-o'-the-wisps and glittering butterflies dancing around. Cannon also saw something like that when he went patrolling one night. And recently, you often hear servants talking about strange footsteps heard inside the mansion near midnight. We've whispered together that Beatrice-sama is in the portrait and sometimes makes herself invisible and walks through the mansion. It happened a while ago, but even I have heard footsteps while patrolling at night that resemble these stories. Whew, that's scary. But there's nothing to be afraid of. Beatrice-sama is another ruler of the mansion, separate from the master, so there's no need to be unnaturally afraid. If you respect her, I hear she won't do anything bad. However, she can be quite terrifying if you don't respect her, right? Correct. I've heard that just before I began working here, someone who spoke badly about Beatrice-sama fell down the stairs and quit after receiving a large injury to their back. Because of that, there was a rumor between the servants that Beatrice-sama's anger had been brought down upon this person. Ooh. Anger will definitely be brought down on Battler and Jessica. Sorry, I don't want to anger her. Brought down upon me. Apologize. Of course, I always apologize to the witch. Sorry, Beatrice. Please forgive this outsider's nonsense. I'll apologize as well. I'm sorry, Beatrice-sama. Will the witch be able to forgive us now? Don't know. Witches are fickle, so they forgive when they want to and don't when they don't. Well, that's no good. Maria, isn't there some kind of good luck charm that could prevent Battler and Jessica from suffering Beatrice's wrath? Maybe something that can block against magic? By relying on Maria, who is proud of knowing the most about witches, George was trying to revive her self-esteem. Once again, I gotta admire his ability to calm kids down. After taking a moment to cross her arms and seriously ponder whether there might be a charm that can save us, she started flipping through the pages in her notebook. I thought it was just a scribbled diary, but there also seemed to be quite a few pages that looked like they'd come from a book on black magic. Maria solemnly considered a group of these pages, which contained things like magic circles. Apparently, Grandfather wasn't the only one with a black magic hobby. When Maria finally found what she was looking for, she snapped the notebook shut and threw it into her handbag. She then began fishing through that bag's contents. There seemed to be various jumbled up things in there. After a while, she took out various pieces of junk, although they were probably important magical items to Maria, and repeatedly threw them back in, saying that they were wrong. It was all a bit humorous, just like when Doraemon took out the wrong tool. Finally, she seemed to discover what she was looking for. With a face that was unimaginably cheery when compared to the intense expression she had worn until now, she held those out to Jessica and me. Ooh. I grabbed it and saw that it was a very cheap-looking charm. It looked like a bracelet made from a plastic rosary with a scorpion-themed medal attached. Haven't you ever heard those cheap Zodiac-themed accessories? The kind you might win a crane game at an arcade. It really looked like something like that. There were 2 of them, probably one for me and one for Jessica. However, the very fact that there were 2 of them made me feel more like cheap manufactured goods, making it pretty hard to think of them as magical items. You're giving them to me and Battler? With these charms, you don't even have to worry about Beatrice, because scorpions have the power to ward off magic. Huh, really? Didn't know scorpions could do that. Battler doesn't believe. You can fill in the blanks. Shut up. I'd said too much and angered Maria again. Maria took out her notebook again, pointing out the various pages as she went on and on about how the scorpion had incredible holy power that had been used in repelling magical circles since blah 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 blah. I've heard about them that some of the other young servants. Something about how the scorpion is drawn as a magic repelling symbol in sorcery. Huh, really? The scorpion protects against bad magic and calamity. An emerald brings peace to the heart. Therefore, its effects are twofold. It's true. The scorpion wraps around the emerald and protects it. Thus, that certainly does sound like it'd work well. I really wanted to make fun of those worthless-looking charms, but as I watched Maria explaining with all of her heart and realized she'd found them for our sakes, I started to feel like it might actually work, even if it was just a pride for some game center. The material quality of the charm didn't matter. What mattered was the strength of her feelings. Even though I don't think of myself as the sort of loser who would laugh at something like that. Okay, thank you. I apologize to Beatrice, but even if I do get up getting cursed, I'll be safe now thanks to Maria's charm. Right, Jessica? Yeah, that's right. Thanks, Maria. Wear it on your arm when you want your heart to be at peace. Put it in your wallet and your money won't decrease. If you hang it from a doorknob, bad things can't get in. It's a really convenient charm. What an incredible effect. If Maria's stomach gets it... Oh, God. Shannon clapped her hands together and Maria stuck out her chest. She was totally in a good mood again. It's probably best if we let her lead the conversation for a bit longer, if it'll keep her in such a good mood. Come to think of it, she looked a bit bored when we were getting excited about the hidden gold, probably because she couldn't keep up. While eating the cookies Kumasawa-san had baked, Jessica and I asked Maria this and that about black magic. Maria happily chatted away in our response to our questions. Each time, George and Shannon would ask surprised or chime in. The clouds in the sky grew darker and darker, but we cousins really enjoyed communicating freely after a year of separation. Happy Umineko Thursday! Welcome in! Did I just feel a drop on my forehead? Oh, I wonder. As George Anakin rubbed his forehead, he looked up at the sky. Considering the color of the sky and the dampness of the air, it would have been odd for a raindrop to hit him. The wind also seemed to have grown a bit stronger. I didn't feel a drop. Only I didn't. Don't worry, neither did I. Anyways, I'm sure it'll rain so much tonight that everyone gets to feel plenty of raindrops. That's right. Maybe we should head back soon. Shannon looked at her watch. It was probably well into the evening by now. Isn't it already time for you to return to your work? Yes. Thank you very much for allowing me to enjoy some time together with you all. Tell Kumasawa-san thank you for the cookies. Okay, everyone, come out with the cleanup. Shannon declined our help, saying that it was the servant's job, but picking up dropped forks before the waitress has to is pretty much my purpose in life. We folded up the blanket, gathered up the trash, and helped clean everything up. Ugh, the trash is getting away. Ugh. I won't let it escape. We'll grab it before Mario does. Ugh, I'll grab it. Ugh. Maria, don't get your shoes wet, you'll get in trouble. For Maria, chasing after some trash sent flying by the powerful winds was just another game. By the time we finished, the wind was blowing pretty strongly. Probably a good time to head back. You've all helped me out a lot. Thank you very much. It looks like you're really out of time. It's okay if you head back first. George perceived from her hurried appearance and that her very little of her free time was left. Genji's very strict about time. If you don't show up where you're supposed to be at the right time, I get he'll be pissed. We'll see you later. Do your best with your work. Yes! Then if you'll excuse me. After making a respectful bow, Shannon ran towards the rose garden. Okay, let's head back to the guest house. We can watch TV or something and relax a little. Wanna watch TV? Then it's decided. Let's all head back and watch TV together. Maria, who wasn't done having fun, agreed once television was mentioned. We climbed up the gentle stairs and returned to the rose garden. The wind had grown very strong, and roses shook throughout the garden like ripples on the water. This might be our last chance to see those beautiful roses. I'll bet tonight's typhoon ruins them. Those roses might be done in by tonight's winds. You're right. Still, I think the roses were pretty lucky. After all, they got to welcome all of you before the typhoon. All flowers lose their petals eventually, but that means we can admire them even more when they're in bloom. That's right. Maria, burn this image into your eyes. At this moment, they're the best roses of the year. Burned into eyes. Right then, Maria suddenly clapped her hands. It looked like she remembered something. My rose! The typhoon will send it flying. Oh, you mean the sad-looking rose George marked with a ribbon? Maria apparently remembered where the rose was. She ran at full speed. The rest of us followed her. Oh. Where's that again? I'm sure it was somewhere around here. We searched everywhere around the area, but it was only a single flower among all of these roses after all. Even though we knew it was somewhere close by, we weren't able to find it. The winds making up the typhoon's front lines made the roses throughout the garden undulate. It was almost like it was teasing us by making the location of Maria's rose impossible to find. Maybe it wasn't here. Let's try spreading out a bit in our search. Sounds good. Let's go for strength in numbers. What's up, Maria? We remained a split suit. Maria tugged on my jacket with an unhappy face. You could tell that she didn't want us to leave that spot. What is it? What's wrong? My rose is here. It's here. But it's actually not, right? Maybe it was on the other side of the flower bed. If we all look, we'll find it fast, okay? It's here. My rose is here. Look for it. Look for it. Maria stomped her feet in irritation. She pointed at that spot and said it was definitely there, but in actuality it wasn't. Even so, Maria got mad when we said we were going to search elsewhere, so we were at a loss for what to do. For a while we had to stay near Maria and pretend to search through the rose thicket. Not here. Not here, not here. Ooh. Maybe she's saying that it should be here, but it isn't. Maria became increasingly irritated. Oh man, Maria's really losing her temper. Sometimes Maria starts to really care about really pointless stuff. If she gets what she wants, that's okay, but you can't find something that isn't there. That's not good. Just when we're at the loss of what to do, Maria called out in a loud voice, Mama! We could see Aunt Rosa in the distance, in the direction Maria was waving her hand. Maybe she wanted to look at the garden one more time before the typhoon came, or maybe she had some business at the guest house. Aunt Rosa was coming from the mansion. She quickly noticed her daughter's voice and came over. My, what happened, everyone? Are you looking for something? Look for it. Mom, will you look for my rose too? Your rose? We found an unhealthy rose around here and marked it. We tied a candy wrapper around it, but Maria, if I remember correctly, it was growing right at the front and really stood out, didn't it? Unless it grew off legs and ran off somewhere, it must be somewhere else. Maybe you remembered it wrong. It is here. It is here. Butler doesn't believe. How many times do I have to tell you to stop saying ooh before you'll understand? Mom will look for it, so stay quiet. I'd never seen Aunt Rosa do anything, be anything other than kind and gentle, so her anger surprised me a bit. Aunt Rosa began searching as well, so we went along with her for the time being, but we were already more than sure it wasn't around here, so it didn't take long for Aunt Rosa to realize that too. The rose isn't here. Did you mistake this place for somewhere else? There's so many roses around. That's wrong. It is here. Mama doesn't believe. I already believed you and looked hard for it, didn't I? But it isn't here. But it is here. It's here, but it isn't. There's someone must have ripped it out. Anyway, stop saying ooh. Who ripped out my rose? Who did it? Give it back. How should I know? Stop it. Stop saying that. Oh, fuck. Aunt Rosa slapped Maria's left cheek with her palm. In that instant, Maria was shocked into silence. Of course, it was only for an instant. When Maria realized that her wish was being rejected, she started yelling even louder. My rose! My rose! Did I tell you to stop with that weird habit? That's why all the kids in your class make fun of you. Cut it out! Once again, her palm slapped Jesus Christ, woman. This time she didn't go silent. She choked as she started crying and began to bawl in an increasingly loud voice. Aunt Rosa was clearly irritated and lifted her hand up once more to try and shut her daughter up. Aunt Rosa, no, she's just a little kid. There's no reason to get so serious. I tried to cut in with a bitter smile, rubbing my hands together, but Aunt Rosa glared at me with a serious face, and I realized I should have stayed out of this. I'm sorry, but could the rest of you go back to your rooms for a bit? I need to have a little talk with Maria. Nobody believes in my rose, even though it was here. Look for it! Look for it! It was here! But it's not here, so you must confuse this place for somewhere else, right? It is here. It's definitely here. Then it disappeared. Give it up. Why? Why did it disappear? Why? I don't know that, so stop saying that. Aunt Rosa once again raised her hand, overcome by emotion, and slapped Maria's cheek. It was strong enough to knock Maria over. Hey, Aunt Rosa, even if she is your daughter, violence isn't the answer. I stepped between them to protect Maria, who was still on the ground, crying. I knew that as an outsider, problems between parent and child were none of my business, but I wasn't brought up to silently observe something like this. Don't you think it's weird, Battler? Are there any girls at your school who mutter, oh? Well, I am in high school, but for an elementary schooler, I think saying ooh is pretty cute. Cute? Saying ooh is cute? Cute? My careless words seemed to have earned me Aunt Rosa's wrath. She grabbed my collar with a terrifying expression. Don't say such nonsense. Do you know how old Maria is? She's 9. She's a 4th grader, not a kindergartner. She still makes that sound during class. Don't you get it? Do you know what they say about this kid when they bully her? Thanks to this weird habit, she still hasn't made a single friend. Don't you turn your eyes from reality and carelessly call Maria cute. Think more seriously about this child's future. I told you to stop making that sound. Didn't I tell you to stop it? Aunt Rosa struck Maria's quivering head, from which an increasingly unhappy voice was rising. I tried to stop it, but Aunt Rosa pushed me away. My back hit George. A long time ago, Aunt Rosa also thought of it as nothing more than one of Maria's baby words, but now that it hasn't been fixed, even midway through elementary school, she's been working about it a lot. How she talks isn't really that big of a deal, right? She'll never make it as an adult if she's like that. So, even though it's not fun to watch, this is a problem between parent and child. Well, even if I get chewed out by Mom all the time because of how I talk, when they put it that way, even a scene as painful as this isn't something an outsider like me should butt in on. No, you definitely should butt in on it. She's 9. Butler, when you were a kid, didn't you have any bad habits that you couldn't fix that got you into trouble? Well, 1 or 2. One parent did today once. I kept getting yelled at in front of everyone, and it was embarrassing. Well, then, you can understand how the 2 of them must feel right now. I'm sure they don't want us to be here right now. You'll understand too, don't you? I don't think anyone likes to be seen when they're being scolded. Let's go. We'll return to the guest house. Then after Maria Chen's asked, let's welcome her as if nothing happened. That's probably for the best, isn't it? It's not. Your family is so fucked up. You guys are fucked up. We thought George's point was probably unreasonable, and we may have been eager to use that reasonable-sounding argument as justification to retreat from this heart-rending scene. Jessica and I nodded at George and Nikki, and we all left. We called towards Maria, telling her we were going to head towards the guest house, but she didn't seem to hear, and we felt kind of guilty and shameless after saying it. In any case, look by yourself as much as you want. Mama doesn't care. I'll look for it. I'll look for it by myself, even if Mama doesn't care. Have it your way. After blasting her with those last few words, Rosa spun on her heels and quickly returned to the mansion. Maria probably viewed that as a cold gesture meant to injure, but that wasn't Rosa's intention. It was because of the hands which she had so emotionally struck Maria's cheek was still numb. It was because if she stayed there screaming, she might again be taken over by her emotions and continue slapping her daughter's cheeks over and over. After Rosa left, Maria was left alone in the rose garden. The wind began to blow stronger and stronger, and every once in a while a raindrop would fall on her forehead. However, Maria couldn't leave that place, not until she found that poor wilting rose. It had definitely been there. Even so, it wasn't. Even though she knew the place, and even though it had been there, it wasn't. Maria bitterly stared at the place it was supposed to be, and thought frantically. Maybe the angle I'm looking from is wrong. Maybe the height I'm looking from is wrong. While gazing at the single point, Maria repeatedly stood up, changed position, and continued to stare. The wind was getting stronger and stronger, but Maria kept looking for the wet rose in front of the flower bed. Hi, Ideas. Welcome in. Kenzo noticed the sound of raindrops beating on the window. This guy again. It seemed to be pouring down thickly. It had begun to rain later when the weather report had predicted. Kenzo approached the window as if being summoned by the sound of the rain. The sound of the rain is the sound of silence. The sound feels quieter than any silence. It makes humans remember that in the end they are alone from the moment they're born to the moment they die. You're late, Beatrice. Were those words directed at the rainy sky? There was no one else to be seen in the direction of Kinzo's gaze. Well then, let us begin. Let us begin our banquet of miracles. This island has now been cut off from the world. Now there are none who can interrupt my ceremony. There are many fitting sacrifices for you. 4 of my children, 3 of their companions, 4 of my grandchildren, me and my guests, and my servants. You may devour as many as you please. The key of fate will select the sacrifices in accordance with the demon's roulette. If that roulette chooses me, even I will become your sacrifice. However, because of that, because I will bet on such madness, I will most assuredly bring forth a grand miracle. Come, devour to your heart's content. I'll achieve victory over that roulette. Yes, I'll put everything on the line. First, I'll return the inheritance of the Yoshirimiya family. Accept it. Kinzo tore the window open, ripped a golden ring off his finger, and forcefully threw it away. At that time, the sound of thunder rang out, giving the illusion that the alighting had accepted the ring. And when you are resurrected, surely I will be the one who stands witness. I will survive until the end and watch over as you awaken. So, come, Beatrice. Welcome to my banquet. In exchange for all that I have created, show me another miracle, just this once. Oh, Beatrice. Rules for Rakajima, have fun, be yourself. Magic is real. So true. Have fun and be yourself. A news ticker popped up on the TV program we were watching. The disaster report told us how municipalities all over the world continue sending out rain, flood, and wave warnings. Of course, the raindrops beating harshly on the window were even more convincing. This rain's incredible. Still, when it's raining this hard, it feels like it might stop at any moment. You wish. They said the typhoon's moving slow, so it might be like this all day tomorrow. And even a little bad weather stops the boats from coming. Looks like we won't be able to head out on Sunday after all. Just in case, I cleared all outside business from my Monday schedule, and I'm glad I did. Which means it looks like we'll get to skip school Monday. Living on an island's starting to sound pretty good. Come to think of it, Jessica, you gotta take a boat to school every day, don't you? What do you do when the boats stop running? Do you stay home when it rains and show up late when it wind's blowing like kink? If the boats don't come, I stay home. Still, it's not as good as it sounds. Usually I'm ordered to study by myself. And it's not that fun with someone standing right behind watching everything you do. During the raisin season, does weather even stay bad for a long time and make you miss a bunch of days in a row? That does happen sometimes. Still, I'd get a call from my homeroom teacher every single day to sadly guide me on how I should teach myself and what I had to turn in. She can't skip school as easily as you're imagining, Battler. She's got to follow the rules for people to travel to school on boat and get a good amount of studying done. It'd actually be easier to just go to school. In my own room, I get distracted and can't concentrate. After being able to do nothing but workbooks for several days straight, it's pretty hard to handle all that mental stress. When I get into college, I really just want to go to some dorm and quickly say goodbye to this inconvenient island. Oh, okay. By the way, what do you do when the weather's good in the morning, but then gets so bad on their way home that the boats are closed? Do you spend the night at school? That actually happens a lot. Because of that, they built some lodgings there for people who can't get back to the island they live on. That's where you'd spend the night. Sometimes when it gets really bad, you can't get back home for a few days at a time. Someone commuting school or work on train packed twice its capacity might carelessly think that commuting by boat would be pretty interesting or fun, but it sounds like it comes with troubles of its own. You hear thoughtless tourists saying stuff like that all the time. I've had enough of island life. I really want to just graduate high school and say goodbye to all this island. But there are all dorm schools, even for high school, right? Why'd you choose the Nijima school of all places? I wanted to go one of those from the beginning, but Mom's always going on about it. Need to learn manners and discipline as a successor. So I ended up sticking close to home even for high school. I hate this island. I just want to go live in the city. I don't care if the rain or even spears fall from the sky. As long as I can move to the city where I can wear casual clothes and sandals, I get to a new convenience store in less than 5 minutes. Hold up just a little longer. Just a bit more and you'll graduate high school, right? I can't wait a little longer. Jessica stretched out and reclined the sofa. Maybe it was a bad time slot because there weren't any interesting programs on, and we had nothing to do but languidly kill time until we were called for dinner. After that episode, Maria never returned to the cousin room after all. And Rosa probably took her back to the mansion. It had to be pretty boring for Maria, all by herself while the adults had confusing conversation. We thought we might as well head over to the mansion to see her, but the weather was really awful. And since there wasn't much time till dinner, we stayed where we were. At that time, we heard the sound of a humble knock. Jessica answered, "Yes?" "The preparations for dinner are complete. Please come to the mansion." It was Cannon's voice. Did he go through all the trouble of coming from the mansion in the rain just to get us? Couldn't he have just called us on the telephone? Well, I guess servants at work don't always get to take the most efficient route. It was just when I was getting hungry. Let's go. George turned off the television and stood up. My stomach's been growling for a while. I've always been a huge fan of the main family's dinners. And didn't go to say it was calf steak or something? I can't wait. Our dinners are always even more fabulous than usual when the family conference comes around. Even I'm looking forward to it. Let's go. As we left the room, Cannon bowed silently and respectfully. Okay, let's go. Is the rain pretty nasty out there? Yes. Take care not to get your garments wet. After seeing the three of us out, Cannon peered into the empty room. Wasn't Maria with you? Well, no, she's not. Wasn't she with Aunt Rosa? Rosa was lying on a sofa in the empty parlor, having fallen asleep before she knew it. She was bearing a burden that the children couldn't even imagine. That's why she only needed to let her guard down a little before the weariness immediately dragged her into the world of sleep. Realizing this, Genji brought a blanket over to her. When he tried to spread it over her, her eyes snapped open as if she'd been shocked with electricity. Oh, thank you, Genji. When she realized that the thing had been touched her was just a blanket, and that Genji had been considerately giving to her, she let out a sigh of relief. Did I wake you? My sincere apologies. No, it's all right. I hadn't planned on sleeping in the first place. What time is it now? Was asked for the time, Genji checked a pocket watch that he took out of his chest pocket. It is slightly after 6. Rosa gave her head a little shake when she realized that not much time had actually passed, even though it felt like she'd slept for ages. Even though she didn't feel rested at all, the drowsiness that must have enveloped by her must have been pretty deep. Thank you. I'll be fine without the blanket. I mustn't sleep at such a strange time. My sense of time has been completely thrown off. The rain has finally started pouring down in earnest, hasn't it? The wind's blowing hard, too. I wonder if the typhoon's finally here. That's what they said on TV. The typhoon is moving slowly, so they think it'll be like this all day tomorrow. Really? So our last chance to see that wonderful rose garden must have already passed by. From the window, what she could see from the rose garden was completely blurred by the wind and the rain. Maria. That's right. What about Maria? I have not seen her. Did she not return to the guest house? Rosa knew her daughter's nature well, so a chill ran her in her spine. Maria was stubbornly honest, and if she was ordered to find something that didn't exist, she would look forever and ever, even in the pouring rain. No. The cousins left all before I did, so Maria was alone. Unless someone told her to stop, she'd stay there, even if it started raining spears, without even opening an umbrella. How could I have lost control of my emotions and done such a thing? Even though she's known about Maria's simple honesty better than anyone, she'd once again lost control of her emotions and done something terrible. At least she knows she did something bad and regrets it. Maria? Rosa pushed Genji away and ran down the hall. The outside really looked like a typhoon, and the rain was pouring down spectacularly. Maybe because of some aspect of the terrain, the winds weren't typhoon class, so an umbrella would have been torn out of someone's hands. Even so, it was certainly a windy rain. There was no time to admire the roses being drenched. Anyways, I'm getting pretty worried about Maria. You don't think she's still rebelliously searching for that rose alone, do you? I wonder. Surely she wouldn't do it in this rain. At least I wish I would believe that, but Maria sometimes gets really stubborn and intensely straightforward. We hadn't worried much, thinking Aunt Rosa had taken her back to the mansion. However, when Cannon had come from the mansion to call us and thought Maria was here, we got a little worried. I didn't see her in the mansion, so I was sure she was here. After all, Rosa was taking a nap. You didn't see her on your way over here? My apologies. I opened an umbrella and ran as fast as I could, so I didn't pay much attention. If he had cut through the rose garden, taking the shortest line between the mansion and the guest house, he would have just barely missed the place Maria had been looking for the rose. And it was raining this hard, too. It certainly would have been possible for Cannon to fail to notice her. Instead of arguing around here, it'd be faster just to check it out directly. Annika, why don't we race over there? Oh, you think you can beat me now that you've been growing for 6 years? Okay, let's settle this. Go. George and I flew out into the rain. Jessica and Cannon followed us. Maria, if you're there, answer me. Maria? It's Aunt Rosa. Aunt Rosa. When George called back, Aunt Rosa jumped at him and grabbed onto him. Where's Maria? Isn't she with you? No, we didn't meet with Maria after that. Maria? 6 years ago, Maria was 3 years old. She was a cute and pure kid who just accepted anything everyone said. But 6 years have passed since then. She's 9 now and experiencing the ups and downs of life. Should have taught her something. But Maria, are you telling me you're still as innocent, as pure as you used to be? Maria! As I circled the rose bed, something white I explicitly turned. It was in a white umbrella. Maria was crouching down, holding a white umbrella and still searching for that rose. Her face, which had turned bright red from crying her eyes out, was dirtied with water and mud. It was a truly pitiful sight. Maria, are you still looking? Can't find it. I can't find my rose. Maria had probably been here since the rain started pouring down. Her shoulders were freezing. She looked tired to the bone, but fortunately, since she was holding an umbrella, she wasn't completely soaked. The umbrella probably came from the handbag Maria always carried around. Thank goodness. Seriously, thank goodness. Battler, thank goodness you found her. Maria, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Aunt Rosa threw her umbrella aside and hugged Maria. Ugh, it's not here. My rose isn't here. I'll look for it with you later, okay? So please put it on hold for today, okay? Oh, put it on hold for today? It looked Maria still wasn't able to accept it, but she no longer had any energy left to resist. Jessica and Cannon caught up with us. I'll have a towel ready in the mansion immediately. Maria, were you here this whole time? Sorry. I'm sorry for being such a bad mother. Aunt Rosa, why don't we head back to the mansion for the time being? If we stay here, Maria will catch a cold. You're right. Maria, let's go. If we don't get you cleaned up, Grandfather will be mad. Hungry. It's already time to eat. You did a good job holding out, Maria. Once the weather gets better, we'll all go search together. We couldn't stay in the rain forever. We took Maria with us as we headed back to the mansion. Maria apparently wasn't as worn out as I'd thought. When she remembered we were having calf steak for dinner, she started chanting, I'm hungry, and returned to her usual spirited self. Aunt Rosa didn't chide Maria for saying it. I see. So she had an umbrella on her. Maria sure is as good as packing the right stuff. I didn't bring an umbrella. What? Then how'd you get that white umbrella you're holding? I borrowed it. Some caring person must have brought her an umbrella. A normal kid would look for shelter once it started raining, but Maria was too stubborn to give up so easily, so maybe that caring person gave up on telling Maria to find shelter and decided to at least give her an umbrella. I see. I'll have to thank that person. Who was it? Beatrice! The name Maria cheerfully mentioned was that of the island's witch. Rosa took a deep breath and asked again, trying to do so in a way that wouldn't damage Maria's good mood. Really? That's wonderful. So who was it? Who brought you the umbrella? Beatrice? These water cats be crying? They do be crying. Maria immediately realized that her mother didn't believe her and started crying out unhappily again, so Rosa stopped pursuing the subject. It'd probably be faster to ask whoever let Maria the umbrella during dinner rather than ask Maria herself. She's 9. Let her be. Father, please at least join us for dinner. It won't be a family conference otherwise. Along with the dull pounding of the door, the sound of Krause's entreaty could be heard. However, that voice seemed to be resigned to the fact that nothing would be heard. Kinzo-san, won't you at least come out for dinner? All your children are gathered to see your face, have they? Silence, Nanjo. So, the bishop won't work. One move too short. Apparently, Kinzo was too focused on the final battle of his long-lasting chess match with Nanjo. Kinzo's brow was wrinkled as he continued to glare at the game board through his spectacles. Krause's voice didn't reach his ears. Kinzo-san, I'm hungry myself. Why don't we go down and eat? We'll go by yourself if that's what you want. Let me consider the next room for a little while longer. We're going to finish it tonight. Otherwise, it's doubtful we'll finish before the world ends. Nanjo rose from his seat, hoping he would prompt Kinzo to do the same, but Kinzo's eyes never left the chessboard. He knew well that Kinzo always displayed a wide concentration when it came to chess, but he'd never seen Kinzo concentrate as hard as this. It's almost as though Kinzo was telling the truth, and there could never be another chance for them to continue their contents if they didn't finish tonight. It seemed that no matter how obstinately he called out to Kinzo, it wouldn't reach the latter's heart. Nanjo gave up and headed to the door that Krause was banging on. The door to the study opened. Krause was taken aback, thinking that maybe Kinzo was actually coming out. However, Nanjo was the one who appeared, and Krause let out a sigh of relief. Dr. Nanjo's father... Sorry, I couldn't be of service. Right now, this room is Kinzo's whole world. Nanjo shook his head with a completely defeated expression. Krause raised his fist once more and banged on the door, shouting, Father, can you hear me? We're heading down now, but please join us anytime you feel like it. All of your children are waiting for you. His voice was very loud, and he was making a racket, pounding on the door. There was no way it couldn't reach Kinzo's ears. Well, it certainly was reaching him, but he ignored it anyway. However, unlike the time he'd been calmed down for lunch, he didn't fly into a rage. By now, Kinzo was calm at heart. Also, almost as if though he had taken a philosophical view and turned himself over to fate. Neither dinner nor the faces of my children interest me in the slightest. I will only leave here if Beatrice is resurrected, if I am chosen as a sacrifice for the key. The demon's roulette has already started spinning. What meaning does dinner have at this point? As though the painfully loud banging on the door completely failed to enter his healing, Kinzo silently thought about his next chess move, still in his philosophical state. Shut up, Kinzo! Just as always, Kinzo's figure couldn't be seen anywhere in the dining hall. Krause, wearing a bitter smile, returned with Nanjo. Father says he's still not feeling well. He truly regrets missing this once-in-a-year opportunity to sit together with his gathered family. Eva and Rudolph sniggered. Given Kinzo's personality, there was no way he'd show signs of regret, and none of his relatives showed any regret in his absence. Kinzo made an illegal move. He's making illegal chess moves when Nanjo's not looking. That's the real magic. Then why don't we start dinner? Goda, begin. Certainly. Well then, if you'll allow me. When Goda was told to start the family conference dinner, his biggest time to shine of the whole year, he nodded with a broad grin. May I ask who lent Maria an umbrella? When Rosa timidly cut through the silence of the dining hall, everyone noticed. An umbrella? What's this about? A short while back, Maria was in the Rose Garden when it started raining, and she apparently borrowed a white umbrella from someone. I wanted to thank them. Wasn't one of us. After you left, we moved to a different room and had a friendly chat the whole time. That's right. Even after that, the siblings had a real friendly chat. Friendly, awkwardly from Hideyoshi's lips, so even those who hadn't been present could tell that the conversation hadn't been a pleasant one. At the very least, it could have been me, Ava, Rudolph, or it couldn't have been me, Ava, Rudolph, Hideyoshi-san, or Kirie-san. We were together the whole time, even after Natsuki and Rosa left. The whole time until the meal started. Nei-san went to the study to Genji, with Genji to call father. At that time, the rest of us went straight to the dining hall. So it wasn't one of us. It couldn't have been a servant kind enough to an umbrella. So it was you, Goto-san. I had been in the kitchen the whole time preparing. My sincere apologies. Goto looked slightly disappointed about missing this chance to show off. In that time, Shannon and Kumasawa appeared, pushing a servant cart loading with hors d'oeuvres. What about Shumasawa-san or Shannon-san? Yes? Has something gone wrong? Because Shannon had come part way, she shrank back, mistakenly thinking that the others were searching for someone responsible for some error. It isn't like that. It started to rain when Maria was alone in the rose garden. After that, someone lent her an umbrella. Aunt Rosa said she wanted to thank that person. Beatrice. Aunt Rosa explained the situation one more time. As she did, Kumasawa crackled. Ho, it wasn't us. Shannon and I were preparing the rooms together, and we did not go outside. Yeah. I'm sorry I wasn't able to be of assistance. Preparing the rooms? What do you mean by that? Because of the rain, we thought it would be troublesome for all the guests to return to the guest house. So the servants were ordered to prepare guest rooms inside the mansion. Really? How thoughtful. Yes, it certainly would be rude to chase us outside in the rain. Could you give it rest? Yes. After receiving the order from Madam, Kumasawa-san, Kanon-kun, and I started preparing the rooms. Then it became time for dinner, so Genji ordered Kanon to go to the guest house and summon the children. Yes. So did Kanon find Maria on the way to guest house and lend her an umbrella? Wrong! The person who had actually received the umbrella denied it. Rosa was troubled. All she wanted to do was give word of thanks to the person who had lent the umbrella, but she couldn't find them. So she thought asking like this with everyone gathered for dinner would work immediately. Then it was you, Natsuhi. I'm sorry. After everyone's friendly chat, my headache was so bad I've been resting in my room. Therefore, I did not go outside. Then who was it? George and the kids? That can't be right. No, it wasn't us. We were watching television in the guest house the whole time. Actually, we thought Maria had just gone back to the mansion with you. Then Kanon came and asked whether Maria was with us. So when we first realized she wasn't in the mansion, if it weren't me, I would have grabbed her hand and pulled her under a roof before giving her an umbrella. Rose was completely baffled. One by one, the relatives and servants denied they'd done it, even though it wasn't really something anyone would need to hide. So, by promise of elimination, the number of remaining candidates wasn't large. Of course, it wasn't me. Right after it began raining, I visited Kinzo's room and was playing chess with him until now, which means that it also wasn't grandfather. Wait a sec, isn't this starting to get a bit weird? Who's left? Then, who was it? Genji? Huh? Wait a second, don't get me wrong, it's not like I'm searching for some culprit or anything. All I want to do is, as a mother, thank the person who gave Maria an umbrella in the middle of the rain. Giving an umbrella to a girl loitering in the rain was something to be praised, not hidden. Despite that, no one raised their hand. Why not? Everyone started whispering about how strange this was getting. Calm down, Rosa. Why don't we just ask the person who was lent the umbrella? That's what everyone had been thinking since the beginning. They were all scratching their heads as to why she didn't just ask Maria, who had been given the umbrella. However, Rosa bit her lower lip. After all, she already knew how Maria would answer if asked. Of course! Rudolph got it right. Maria, tell your uncle. Who lent you the umbrella? Beatrice! The dining hall was laughed in silence for an instant, but it was still interrupted by a burst of laughter. I see, so Beatrice, the Witch of the Forest, felt pity and lent her an umbrella. What a lovely story. Rosa, there you have it. Rosa couldn't believe it. Even though she just wanted to say thanks for the umbrella, why did everything she had to do be so clouded and spoke? Just like Uncle Kraus said, Beatrice let me borrow it. Isn't that wonderful? We should all be jealous of such purity. What do you think, everyone? Kraus was laughing with a face that was clearly mocking, but Maria was overjoyed, apparently convinced that her claim was being believed. How did that work? Does that mean a witch really appeared and lent her an umbrella? Jessica asked me in a small voice that wouldn't carry over to Maria, who was sitting across from me. Has Maria ever been the type to make jokes? We heard that kind of story pop out of my old bastard's mouth. We would have taken it as another joke. However, it's hard for me to explain it away like that when Maria said it. This is getting pretty unnerving. No way. She's always been frank and serious. She's the sort that would believe any joke, even one's normal ones, could instantly tell were lies. I've never even heard of her cracking a joke. Aunt Rosa probably knew that better than anyone. It appeared that way because of the weird situation. She had no idea what was going on anymore. So if Maria says she borrowed an umbrella from Beatrice, that means it really was Beatrice? We're talking about Maria here, so I can't think of it as some sort of metaphor or joke. It might be best to take what she says as face value. Then what's going on? Are you saying Genji or someone put on that fancy dress from the portrait and gave Maria the umbrella? Not sure about that. Actually, that's what I want to know. Jessica shrugged jokingly, but her expression didn't completely match her attitude. Once the hors d'oeuvres was set out and Goda showed off his vast store of knowledge, the meal began. A couple of casual chats broke out here and there, but they seemed somehow distant, and the meal ended being so quiet that you couldn't ignore the sound of the rain sneaking into the dining hall. I've got a bad feeling something's gonna happen. Kumasawa and Shannon, pushing the serving cart, ran into Genji and Cannon on their way to the kitchen. Oh, it's Genji. Did you lend Maria an umbrella? An umbrella? What are you talking about? Well, I heard that when it started raining, Maria was alone in the rose garden. It seems she borrowed an umbrella from someone there, but we don't know who it was. It wasn't me. After all, I actually thought Maria was in the guest house. When Battler first found her, she was already holding a white umbrella. My apologies, but it was not me either. Then could it actually be the master? Both in the dining hall and right there, everyone had stated they couldn't have done it. That only left Kinzo, but maybe he went walking down the corridor for some reason, when he just happened to see Maria summon in the rose garden without even an umbrella. The master is not particularly fond of Maria. I agree. I can't imagine that. For Maria's sake, he would go through all the trouble of descending the stairs with an umbrella. I'll take a sip, thank you. And stretch. Everybody stretch. How troublesome. Does that mean the one that lent Maria really was Beatrice? Kumasawa laughed, just like the relatives in the dining hall who had laughed it off. She couldn't think of any other way to break through the smoke veiling the current situation. Just then, the crisp sound of hands clapping twice rang through the hallway. They all turned around at once to see Goda coming out of the dining hall. Okay, everyone. When serving a dinner, proper timing while setting a table is essential. Please immediately see the setting of the soup. Genji, the women in the middle of important jobs, so please don't get in their way. Cannon glared at Goda for being rude to Genji, a Cannon respected. Genji, realizing this, patted Cannon once in the shoulder as a warning. Cannon reluctantly turned away and returned his expression to normal. Obey Goda's instruction. Hurry and prepare the dinner table. Come now, there's no time. Don't dawdle. Hurry. Goda grabbed the serving cart from Shannon and steadily pushed it towards the kitchen. Then please allow us to return to the kitchen. After all, Goda's temperature is very short. Oh, please excuse me as well. Kumasawa and Shannon left. Only Genji and Cannon remained. Through the window, the darkness of the rainy night could be seen, along with the occasional thunderbolt. Genji, did Beatrice really return? I don't know. Shall I inform the master? That's not necessary. If she truly has returned, she'll eventually appear before the master of her own accord. Furthermore, she's a fickle person. It would be pointless to report the master only to find that she does not appear. I wonder if this means Master's ceremony has already begun. Probably. However, that has nothing to do with furniture like us. We must continue to return the favor we received from the Master until our final moments. Yes. That is furniture's duty. The thunder crashed once more, except for those instants when lightning lit up the sky. Nothing could be seen out the window but the darkness of night. Just as humans rule when the sun is up, there are those who rule that are not human rule when the sun is down. The darkness of night and now surrounded Rock and Jima were ruled by another master, not the Urushirimiya family. Did this master really take pity on Maria as she was alone and being pummeled by rain in the rose garden, lending her an umbrella? Cannon looked at the rose garden's light, dimly visible beyond the window. The dim lights wasn't enough to illuminate the surrounding area. Looking at those lights felt like making eye contact with the witch, and Cannon forced himself to avert his gaze. If he didn't, it felt like his eyes would be absorbed by that light. Can the weather change how people act? You often hear stories about how things like the atmospheric pressure can influence people's moods and physical health. For some time now, everyone had been struggling to clear out the gloomy atmosphere, but any conversation was politically cut off, and in the end, the dining hall was simply filled with the sound of rain. Dessert was some kind of chocolate cake, accompanied by pear sherbet. Goda enthusiastically explained the recipe as soon as the final dish was presented, but I quickly forgot the details. The guest of honor, grandfather, was absent. The weather's horrible. The identity of one of the one who lent Maria an umbrella remained a mystery. When the dinner ended, no one even felt one bit refreshed. It was too late now, and I realized painfully that taste wasn't the only important part of the meal. The whole atmosphere was also critical. Goda, the supposed conductor of this beautiful place-called dinner, did his best to enliven the place, dropping little jokes left and right, but apparently not one of them succeeded. After taking orders for after-dinner coffee, tea, and orange juice, he left for the kitchen. As soon as he disappeared, Uncle Kraus spoke. My. What a waste that dinner go to work so hard to create has messed with such a gloomy atmosphere. Yes, absolutely. It just feels like nothing would taste good today. I'd like to know why you feel that way. Later on, all I can do is your older brother to help you cheer you up. Aunt Ava grimaced slightly. He'd already heard she wasn't on good terms with Uncle Kraus, but it was clear now. When I looked around, I noticed my father and Aunt Rosa were also grimacing. Apparently there was something besides the weather troubling all of them. Both Aunt Ava and my dad aren't looking too happy. Really? I don't think so. I asked Natsuhi, who was sitting by my right, but she seemed to be in a bad mood as well. She snapped back as to say she was absolutely not interested. Well, our adult conversation got a little complicated. It isn't something kids like you need to worry about, Battler. Isn't that right, Nessie? Uncle Hideyoshi laughed as he spoke, but without his usual brightness, so I could vaguely imagine how complicated the adult conversation had become. On top of that, even Aunt Natsuhi and Kirie-san, the people who had directed to comment, ignored him as if he hadn't heard anything. I didn't know what kind of conversation they'd been having while us kids were away, but it reminded me of how Dad said he had stomach cramps when we arrived in the mansion. The family conference might have been a playful reunion to us kids, but it was definitely different for the adults. I love the continual Beatrice name drops that makes you go crazy waiting for her to finally show herself. I'm waiting for women to show up now. I want to see her so bad. After Uncle Hideyoshi's comment was ignored by the other adults and an awkward silence fell over the room, Kyrie spoke up. I know that she won't show up for a long time. I know this for a fact, but we're talking about how these kids' careers would turn out, such as what lies in your future, Battler. Will you just drift on it to college? Wouldn't that be a little disheartening as a starting line for their long race of life? Hey, wait a sec. Kyrie, if you keep talking about something like that in the middle of a meal, it won't digest well, and we'll end up getting constipated. That's right. We were talking about Battler and Jessica-chan's careers. You gotta think seriously about the future. Hideyoshi heartily agreed, as if they'd probably been talking about that, but that was probably wrong. Kyrie had obviously been trying to change the subject. However, if Kyrie had been determined that was the best course of action for now, then she was probably right. Taking this into account, I cast aside my suspicions as to the cause between Ava and Dad's bad moods. I know, she just looks like that. It's kind of crazy. I think these are the PS3 or the PlayStation, the ones for the I think these are ones that they made specifically for the Steam version. Actually, I think if I remember, I can't remember because there's 3 variations of the sprites. At long last, the serving cart returned, filled with coffee and tea. Kumasawa and Shannon served it to everyone. Goda then explained this concluded this night's meal. If only the mood had been a little more cheery, it might have been the best dinner of my life. It was a shame this just dinner of dinners couldn't have been had under these conditions. George, is dinner over now? Over? With this, dinner is finished. Don't be rude. Stay in your seat and calmly drink up. Maria looked like she was really excited by the occasionally crashing thunder. Maybe she wanted to finish quickly eating and then run over to the window. She'd been fidgeting for a while, waiting for the meal to end. Some people are afraid of thunder, while others find it interesting, and Maria was apparently one of the latter sort. Therefore, when she heard from George that dinner was over, a huge smile broke across her face. She then rose from her seat, took her handbag, which she'd held under her seat, never having left it while she was eating, and began fishing around inside it. No one seemed particularly concerned by this behavior. What's that? Where'd you get it? George was the first to notice it. As he spoke, Battler noticed it too. They saw Maria was now holding a beautiful Western-style envelope. On the front of the envelope, the Urshirmia family crest, the one-winged eagle, was done in gold leaf. Furthermore, the fact that it was sealed with dark red wax made it clear that this wasn't something Maria could have brought as a prank. Maria, what is that? What do you have? What do you have? It seemed that Nazi had also noticed the strangeness of the envelope Maria was holding. Her voice seemed so serious for someone admonishing a small child, so the relatives around us finally noticed too. What happened, Nazi? What is that? Maria, where did you pick that up? That envelope has Kinzo-san's. When Nanjo muttered that, even us kids could understand why everyone seemed to be frozen solid. The envelope Maria held was one of the Ushiramiya family's head custom-made envelopes for private use. In other words, it could only mean one thing. This envelope contained a message from Kinzo. Huh. What is an envelope like that doing here? Everyone asking where Beatrice is, but no one is asking how is Beatrice. That's so true. I love Ryukishi's art style so much, so I'm off for the OG meaty fists. I know, I'm kind of thinking about it. I'm kind of thinking of it, but I like this style of portrait as well. Now that's an interesting thing to come jumping out at us. Just let me have a peek. No way, I'll read it. I was told to read it to everyone. Uncle Hideyoshi tried to snatch the envelope out of Maria's hands, but she protected it, as though hugging it, and didn't let go. Hideyoshi, you can't use force against a child. Maria, where'd you get this envelope? I got it from Beatrice when she gave me umbrella. She told me to read it out to everyone after the meal was over. I'm the witch's messenger. Messenger? That almighty witch of the island sure likes to mess around. Battler likes to joke about it, but no one laughed. I wonder what's written inside of it. Maria, can I read it? I want to read it. Maria casually opened the envelope. It was sealed only with wax. She just had to remove the sealing wax to open it. The sealing wax fell onto the desk. Hideyoshi hastily picked it up and stared fixedly at it. He then set it at the center of the table where Natsuki, Kirie, and Nanjo stared at it. Imprinted on the sealing wax was the one-winged eagle, which is the Ushiramiya family crest and also Kinzo's personal crest. This is the family head's personal crest. I know it from the letters I've received from Kinzo before. Without a doubt, this is his wax seal. But aren't there several things in this mansion bearing the crest? For example, there was some kind of stamp for wax seals. It couldn't someone other than Kinzo have used it? No, Kinzo-san would always use a ring on his finger as proof of the Ushiramiya family headship when he sealed the wax. This shape and complex design is definitely Kinzo's seal. It's not necessarily so. Everyone in the family must have received a letter from father at least once. We can't eliminate the possibility that someone used that wax as a model to create a fake seal and pass themselves off as father. I agree with Aniki. No matter how much the seal resembles Dad's, we can't prove it's the real thing. So it doesn't prove the envelope came from him. I absolutely agree. I cannot approve of arbitrarily deciding that this letter came from father, based solely on the wax seal. Dr. Nanjo, couldn't you use a bit more discretion with your vague words? I apologize. It was not my place to speak. One after another, all of the siblings from Kraus onwards rejected Nanjo's statement, saying the envelope Maria held wasn't necessarily from Kinzo. They're really coping, yeah. They were afraid. They feared from the bottom of their hearts that Kinzo's intentions were written in there, and that it might be some sort of announcement regarding the inheritance that would decidedly be unfavorable to them. Maria, the person who gave you that envelope was the same person who lent you that umbrella, right? I don't know what means. Is that true? Yes. So in other words, the witch Beatrice gave Marie-chan that envelope and along with the umbrella. Maria nodded forcefully. I agree with my husband. It's a dubious letter handed by some suspicious person. It isn't even worth reading. There's nothing wrong with just reading it, right? Battler said it to Jessica in a small voice, trying to act tough, but Nazi heard him and clearly glared at him with threatening eyes. And then, Beatrice told you to read it after the meal was over, right, Maria? It's okay, everyone. This envelope didn't come from Grandfather, but from Beatrice. Regardless of who actually wrote it, can't we just hear what's inside before we go? That's right. Even if Father didn't necessarily write it, I'd still like to know what's written inside. Maria, I'm sorry I tried to take it to you from Force earlier. I apologize. Will you read it out loud in front of everyone? Maria, read it. As all the relatives stared fiercely at Maria, she spread the letter open with a rustle. Do you think it really did come from Dad? Impossible. Whenever Father has announced something to us in the past, he would always send Genji if he didn't do it directly, correct? Cannot believe he would use such a joke-like approach. That's right. Maria as a messenger? Definitely doesn't suit Father's tastes. Rosa, could this be Maria trying to surprise us by putting on some kind of show? Maria isn't really a kid who'd be capable of doing something so thoughtful. Gotta read it. The words came out of Maria's mouth, but for some reason her voice seemed different than usual. Everyone went suddenly silent. Welcome to Rakanjima, members of the Ushiramiya family. I am Beatrice, the alchemist for this family, employed by Kinzo-sama himself. That's crazy. Quiet. I have served him for many years in accordance with our contract, but on this day, Kinzo-sama has announced the final suspension of that contract. Therefore, I ask that you acknowledge my resignation from the position of family alchemist from this day forth. How foolish. What nonsense. I can't stand to listen to it. And now there is one part of the contract that must be explained to all present. I, Beatrice, lent Kinzo-sama a vast quantity of gold under certain terms. One of these terms specified that all the gold is to be returned to me upon termination of the contract. Furthermore, I am to receive everything of the Ushiramiya family as interest. Ridiculous. It's been ridiculous from the very beginning. So it's basically one of those things, right? Doesn't it sound just like one of those contracts with the devil? The contract expired, so they've come to collect the interest. Is she trying to grab some retirement money for old Ernest or something? What a cheeky witch. Battler, now's the time to joke around. Battler made a face as to ask, "What if I can't make fun of this, what can I make fun of?" Some adults' faces were pale, while others looked dazed. After hearing this, you may feel as though Kinzo-sama has been savagely ruthless. However, Kinzo-sama did append a special clause to the contract so that you would have a chance to preserve your wealth and honor. If, and only if, that special clause is fulfilled, I will lose my rights to the gold and the interest for all eternity. A special clause? What is it? Special clause. Beatrice retains the right to collect the gold and the accumulated interest upon the termination of the contract. However, if someone is about to discover the hidden gold of this contract, Beatrice must abandon these rights for all time. The collection of the interest will proceed shortly, but if any one of you fulfills the terms of this special clause, I shall return everything, including the portion of you that has already been collected. Furthermore, as the first step in this collection of Kinzo's debts, I have taken possession of the Ushiramiya family's head's rings, which signifies the passage of the Ushiramiya family headship from one individual to the other. I ask that you confirm this to yourselves by examining the imprint on the wax seal. Are they trying to claim that that's the meaning behind the seal? That Father would relinquish his ring is unthinkable. Kraus stared at the sealing wax, as if trying to burn a hole through it. Ava and Rudolph were doing the same over his shoulder. Come to think of it, when we were playing chess, I did have a strange feeling that something's missing from Kinzo-san's finger. Dr. Nanjo, don't say something so careless just because of a vague memory. We can't prove its authenticity here. Only by asking Father directly can we determine whether he really handed over his ring and whether this letter tells the truth. That's right. It's just as Kyrie says. Do you really think Kinzo would tell you? After all, that person's thoughts sometimes surpass the bounds of common sense. No matter what happens, it's still nonsense. In the first place, the illusion of the gold itself is one of Father's tricks. I've already heard enough talk of that gold from the rest of you. But this is the witch speaking, right? How about the inheritance and all the assets will be handed over to the one who finds the gold, right? So maybe Beatrice-sama's father's legal advisor in charge of his funds. We can't possibly trust some strange person who entrusts a suspicious paper to a child. Aniki, we need you to be frank with us. Is it possible Dad's assets are being managed by someone you don't know? No, that's impossible. As the family head's representative, I control all of Father's assets. It would be impossible for anyone to do as they please with them without me knowing it. So this must mean there's some assets you don't control, right? How foolish. Such asset could possibly not exist. Oh, but there is such a thing. An asset of father's you don't control. There is no such a thing could exist. Oh, it does. It's father's, now Beatrice's hidden gold. Let's keep it simple. In short, Dad had some trusted confidant that Aniki doesn't even know about. Furthermore, this person he's always been in charge of watching and managing the gold, or it could be some eccentric rich person who'd offered him a role with rules like the devil contract. Could it be that confidant called Beatrice is trying to trust which one of Kinzo's children is which one worthy to be financed by her gold? Curious question was the one that all the siblings wanted answered. Upon reflection, they realized that Kinzo's strange epitaph had been hung on the wall beneath the witch's portrait for some time, and while it had long been whispered whoever solved the puzzle would receive everything, no one had ever clearly stated it. It was just something that everyone hopes might be true. And right there, right now, the thing they'd hoped for had clearly stated in Beatrice's letter. It clearly specified that everything of the Ashuramiya family would be given to the person who found the gold. Kinzo has already publicly displayed the location of the hidden gold with the epitaph under my portrait. The rules apply equally to all who can read the epitaph. If you discover the gold, I shall return everything to you. Tonight, I ask that you enjoy your battle of whips with Kinzo-sama to the fullest. I sincerely pray that this light will be both intellectual and elegant. Beatrice the Golden. Thank you so much, Queen. Thank you for your beautiful letter. Father, I know you can hear me. Please respond. The doors to Kinzo's studies was violently, harshly beaten against over and over again with a protection instrument. The yells coming from the other side belonged to Kraus, Rudolph, and sometimes Ava. It was the siblings who were trying to intrude upon Kinzo's study to question him about the truth behind that mysterious letter. Kinzo was eating. An elegant tablecloth was set over the desk, and the fabulous dinner that he adorned the table down in the dining hall was reproduced here. Kinzo continued his meal in silence. Shannon, taking away the empty plate, looked uncomfortably between the door being pounded on Kenzo's face. Everyone is calling for you, but what should I do? Leave them. God and my meals both hold silence as a virtue. Should I silence them? There's no need. It does not even reach my ears. Kinzo enjoyed his food, apparently indifferent. Genji quietly lowered his head and took a single step back. As he did, Cannon, who stood in the reserve like a shadow behind the side of Genji, opened his mouth. Maria-sama apparently received a letter from Beatrice, so I apparently mentioned they want to test its authenticity. Has she started already then? Come, Beatrice. I have no shortage of coins to be wagered. Shall we enjoy this night to the fullest? I don't think I'll lose. Your smile will be mine for all eternity. If you could see it one more time, I wouldn't regret losing my wealth, my honor, or even my life. Well then, the roulette has begun to spin. Which pocket will the ball fall into? Noir, Rouge, or House takes all? Come, you may begin, Beatrice. I'll show you the power of miracles once more. Whew. Sheesh. She's back on her bullshit. Miss Beatrice, Queen. Hi. All I know about Umineko is that she's a bit of a girl boss. But I think that's a good place to... Beatrice is the woman dark triad, gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss. That's true! I'm so excited to... So, like, I read the first 2 chapters of Umineko, like, 10 years ago. So, like, I know what's going to happen in these first couple of chapters. I'm just imagining... All I can imagine is the fucking gaslight gatekeep girl boss in the red text. Absolute truth. But, I think that's probably a good place to stop, actually. This is probably a good place to stop. My voice is starting to hurt, so I shouldn't push myself too hard. Thanks for streaming. No problem. I'm excited. We finally got to dinner. It only took like 4 weeks. To think it's already been over a month. I know. We're gonna be here for the next 3 years. Let's see. Pop over here. Okay. But yeah, that's our week. Next week it begins. It begins the epitaph. We'll get to the secret of the epitaph next week. If I remember correctly, it starts picking up a little bit once after this bit, if I remember correctly. So this should be the last of the exposition, and we should actually get to like the plot. I say this, but like the first chapter is all just like exposition. But it'll be fine. It's fine. We're chilling and we're vibing, and we need Umineko, and I want to see Beatrice so badly. Rest your eyes for a bit. What the fuck? You think my life so hard. So let's see. Let's see. So tomorrow we're gonna be doing just chatting. We're gonna do some chatting, and we're gonna play some Bejeweled 3. While I play some Bejeweled 3, but Bejeweled lore. That was what reminded me of Bejeweled. I want to play Bejeweled 3. I miss it. I was also talking about Fate earlier, another game that I played when I was younger. It was like an action RPG where you go into a dungeon. Do I need to play Bejeweled 1 and 2 to understand what's going on? No. I think the lore is quite easy to understand, personally. But, let's see. Because I'm like, what else do I have going on? Who in their right mind would destroy that many gems? Me! We need to destroy them. It's fine. We just destroy them, and that's perfectly fine. It's acceptable. We just have to... The only thing of value on this train is conductor coins? What the hell are conductor coins? Are you guys coming up with your own currencies? When ghost tickets are right there? What are you doing? I didn't give you guys permission to make new currency. Oh my, your caboose miles. You don't get those. Those aren't real. What are you talking about? Let's see. Oh. Tila Meal. Tila Meal is streaming right now. You're not real? What the hell? That's huge. I didn't know. Thank you for informing me. I really didn't know that I wasn't real, but my voice is really starting to hurt, so I'm probably gonna very quickly wrap up and set up a raid because I'm tired and I want to lay back down and I was thinking I really want to eat soup again. I'm back to my soup ways, you know me. I'm kind of like wild with it when it comes to soup, but I'm thinking about the like, because a while ago I had like a zucchini and like spicy sausage soup. It was so good. I can't stop thinking about it. It was really good. Crippling soup addiction is real. Oh yeah, I forgot. Tomorrow I'm gonna be having pork belly for dinner because we went to the grocery store and we found like a giant slab of pork belly for like super cheap, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna eat that. So we're probably gonna make slow cooker pork belly, I think, tomorrow. My roommate, I think, is gonna make it, because we usually split between us what we do. The thing is, my roommate is really good at doing like what's it called? Like slow cooker styled meals, whereas I'm better at just cooking things all at once. So we're probably gonna do some slow cooker pork, baby. I'm so excited. I want to have that on rice with maybe some vegetable. I don't know what kind of vegetables I want to have with that. I'm out of pickled radish, I think. I think I'm out of pickled radish. And then let's see. Okay. Radish pickles? Well, if I find some radish pickles at the store, maybe tomorrow. Oh, yeah, I want I'm also out of pickled ginger. I can't live without it. I don't know. I might make some kind of rice dish. I think we have udon too. I might make some udon noodles. I don't know. I'm kind of like I'm vibing with it. I'm like, I want pork belly so bad. I'm like drooling. That's so gross of me. I'm like drooling. It's crazy. I feel crazy. I'm thinking about it. Oh, pork belly. Okay. I'm gonna actually send this over to Teal because I haven't rated Teal in forever. And they're playing Baldur's Gate 3 with their friend Charlie. Also my friend Charlie. I know Charlie. But we are gonna head over to them because I'm sleepy and I want to think about my pork belly and send my roommate recipes and ideas. I think he's playing Final Fantasy 14. I could hear him yelling. I could hear him yelling in the other room. You heard them laugh? Yeah. Yeah, that's the one thing about living with roommates is that sometimes he gets very loud and I'm always so paranoid that, because sometimes he rages at games, right? And I'm always afraid that's gonna get picked up on my mic and I'm like, don't yell. Don't yell. Stop yelling at Final Fantasy 14 PvP. It's really not that serious. And it's like, of all the things, it's like Final Fantasy 14 PvP, so it's like, But let's do... There is that for you guys. Make sure to prep your choo-choos, get ready. I will see you guys tomorrow sometime. It'll probably be like a later in the evening stream because I have to make dinner, because I'll probably be eating a delicious dinner beforehand. And I don't know how long the pork belly is gonna take. I don't know when my roommate is going to throw it in the thing, but prep your choo-choos. We're heading over. Our next stop on the Ghana Express is over at Teal Emil. Teal's a good friend of mine. Very cool, very chill. They've got vibes. And they're playing Baldur's Gate 3. So we'll go over, we'll chill, we'll hang out, we'll have a good time. Who gave Seer the umbrella? Who gave me the umbrella? That's Beatrice. Beatrice did this. But let's do this. But once again, I'm Seer, your local conductor over on the Gehenna Express. Our next stop on the Gehenna Express is over at Teal O'Neill. They're playing Baldur's Gate 3 right now with their friend, and I will see you guys tomorrow for some Bejeweled 3 and chill. But I will be heading out once again, and make sure to give Teal a bunch of love and care and lots of choo-choos, and be very kind. I will see you guys next time, and bye-bye!